Dark psychology is not a subject created for evil people. It is a mirror that shows how human behavior can turn dangerous when the mind is used in the wrong way. Many people believe that manipulation comes only from criminals, but the truth is that manipulation can come from anyone, at any time, in any place. The purpose of understanding dark psychology is not to copy it, but to recognize it before it harms us. When you understand how the human mind works under pressure, fear, greed, anger, or emotional weakness, you begin to see patterns that were always there but were invisible to you. Every person carries two sides within themselves. One side is the part that wants peace, honesty, and kindness. The other side is the part that reacts when a person feels threatened, insecure, or powerless. Dark psychology works when someone learns how to activate these weak points in others. Some people use this knowledge to control others, to hide the truth, or to get things through fear, lies, or emotional pressure. When the listener understands these patterns, the power of manipulation breaks immediately. Most criminals do not begin with violence. They begin with the mind. They study the fear in others. They observe silence. They look for hesitation. They search for emotional wounds. They notice who gets nervous easily, who cannot say no, who can be pressured, and who can be confused. Criminals do not simply attack the body, they attack confidence. Once confidence breaks, control becomes easy. This is why police officers and common people must learn how dark psychology operates at a deeper level, not to use it, but to stay safe from it. A manipulative person studies reactions more than words. If a person raises their voice, a manipulative person does not focus on the shout, they focus on the reason behind it. If someone stays quiet, a manipulative person reads the silence. If someone is emotional, they read the emotions. And if someone is confused, they read the confusion. Awareness is the shield against such people, because manipulation cannot work on a person who can identify it. One of the most common tricks used by harmful individuals is emotional pressure. They do not argue with facts, they argue with feelings. They make the victim believe that something wrong is actually right. They twist the meaning of words. They make simple mistakes feel like crimes and turn their own crimes into simple mistakes. They use guilt as a tool. They use sympathy as a mask. They use fear as a cage. And the victim slowly begins to doubt their own thinking. A confused mind is the easiest mind to control. Some individuals use charm instead of fear. They appear helpful, friendly, and trustworthy. They praise others more than necessary. They give small gifts or small favors, not because they genuinely care, but because they want power later. When they know someone's weaknesses, they wait until the right moment to use them. This type of manipulation is the most dangerous, because it feels safe in the beginning. Many innocent people fall into traps because they trust the wrong person too quickly. Dark psychology also teaches how people hide lies. A manipulative person does not always lie directly. They hide information, give half-truths, distract the conversation, or change the subject when it becomes uncomfortable. They may answer a question with another question. They may pretend to forget. They may play the victim. They may suddenly show anger to avoid giving answers. The goal is always the same, to protect themselves and weaken the other person's judgment. For police officers, understanding these patterns is extremely important. During interrogations, criminals often use confusion tactics. They speak too much or too little. They tell stories with unnecessary details so the officer gets lost. They show fake emotions to gain sympathy. Some act confident, while others act helpless. A trained mind must stay calm and observe what is not being said, because silence often reveals more truth than speech. When the officer remains emotionally neutral, the manipulator loses power. For ordinary people, the biggest danger is blind trust. Many people believe that manipulation only happens in films or big crimes, but manipulation is happening around them daily. At home, at work, in friendships, in relationships, and even with strangers. Anyone can become a victim when they trust without understanding. Not every sweet person is good, and not every angry person is bad. People cannot be judged by expressions alone, they must be judged by patterns of behavior. Another important part of dark psychology is understanding how fear controls the human mind. When a person is afraid, their ability to think logically drops. Criminals know this very well. They create panic. They create urgency. They force the victim to make quick decisions. They make threats indirectly. They make the person believe that something terrible will happen if they do not comply immediately. When fear rises, judgment falls. A person becomes easier to control. This is why staying calm is the strongest protection. A calm mind cannot be forced easily. A calm mind notices lies quickly. A calm mind thinks before reacting. Emotional control is not only a sign of strength, it is armor against manipulation. Another dark psychology tactic is isolation. Manipulators try to isolate the victim from others. They want the victim alone so there is no one to warn them. They create misunderstandings between the victim and their family. They insult their friends. They create distance. Once the victim becomes isolated, the manipulator becomes their only source of emotional support and information. At that point, the manipulator becomes extremely powerful. This is the same technique used by abusive partners, toxic leaders, and criminal groups. Awareness destroys isolation. When a person stays connected to good people, shares their thoughts, and keeps communication open, manipulation becomes nearly impossible. Darkness thrives in silence. There is another important truth about dark psychology. A manipulator does not always look evil. Sometimes they are polite, intelligent, calm, and even charming. But their intentions can be harmful. This is why people must judge actions, not appearances. A trustworthy person's actions stay consistent. A manipulative person's actions change based on what benefits them. If someone is kind only when they need something, that is manipulation. If someone becomes angry when you set boundaries, that is control. If someone tries to make you feel guilty for protecting yourself, that is emotional pressure. People must learn to set boundaries. A boundary is not an insult. A boundary is not disrespect. A boundary is simply self-protection. Manipulators hate boundaries because boundaries remove their power. When you say no, when you demand clarity, when you question unfair behavior, you break the psychological trap. For police officers, boundaries come in the form of procedure, law, and emotional discipline. A criminal may try to provoke anger to make the officer lose control. They may try to create emotional sympathy to escape punishment. They may pretend to be weak to influence the officer's judgment. But a disciplined officer sees through all of it. They do not react to the emotional games. They follow the truth, not the drama. For the common person, the best defense is awareness, self-respect, and critical thinking. Do not accept everything at face value. Listen, observe, and question. Trust slowly. Think calmly. Stay connected to wise people. Share your worries instead of hiding them. Darkness grows only in silence. Dark psychology is also about understanding how people deceive themselves. Sometimes the biggest manipulator is our own mind. When people fall into emotional attachment, they ignore red flags. When they want something desperately, they ignore logic. When they fear losing someone, they accept toxic behavior. This is also manipulation, but it comes from inside the person, not from outside. Learning to control emotions is not just protection against others, but protection against our own mistakes. The truth is that manipulation loses its power the moment you recognize it. Every trick of dark psychology depends on one thing: the victim must remain unaware. Awareness is the cure. Knowledge is the shield. Self-control is the sword. When you understand how manipulation works, you stop being a target. You begin to see people clearly, not through emotions but through reality. This knowledge is meant to protect people, to guide them, and to warn them. It is meant to help police officers identify deception, to help families protect their loved ones, and to help individuals become mentally strong. Dark psychology becomes harmless the moment it is brought into the light. No one can control a mind that understands itself. No one can fool a person who trusts their own judgment. No one can break a person who knows their worth. And no manipulator can succeed when the victim refuses to stay silent. This speech is not a warning against people, it is a reminder to stay aware. It is a reminder that not everyone who smiles is your friend, and not everyone who criticizes you is your enemy. It is a reminder that truth is often hidden beneath behavior, and behavior is often driven by hidden intentions. When you learn to read those intentions, you take back your power. You protect yourself, you protect your family, you protect your community, and you help build a world where truth stands stronger than manipulation. Dark psychology is only dangerous when people do not understand it. When they do, it becomes nothing more than a lesson, a reminder, and a shield. And with this knowledge, every person becomes harder to fool, harder to control, and stronger than ever before.